Dear students, today we will start our new course. The title of this course is Germplasm Resource of Field Crops, and that is PPG 507. In this course, we will be mainly focusing on the importance of germplasm, how the germplasm can be preserved, and how this germplasm can be used for the betterment of the crop plants. So first, we should learn about plant germplasm. Plant germplasm is basically a genetic source material which is used by the plant breeders to develop new cultivars. The germplasm may include seeds or other plant propagules such as leaf, stem, pollen, or other cultured cells that could be grown into mature plants. The seeds may be from new or old cultivars, from obsolete cultivars, we can say from land races, and it can be from special breeding lines or populations which are developed by the breeders or from the special genetic stocks such as mutant lines. The plant germplasm is of our most important natural resource and it must be managed properly if the breeders are to continue to develop improved cultivars. So, the survival of the human race is mainly depends upon the proper conservation of these valuable plant germplasm resources. So, to know further about plant germplasm, let's have a look about what is germplasm in general. A germplasm is anything, anything can be considered as a germplasm. Either it can be of cultivated crop species or crop plant, either it can be a wild species, anything which is which is in its active form is called as a germplasm. DNA is also germplasm. you know the cultivated crop species in our university, outside university, in Multan, in Pakistan, and everywhere, any living organism can be regarded as a germplasm, and it has the potential uh, you know, of having a lot of valuable genetic resources. So the second thing is variety. So there is a difference between germplasm and variety. As I have told earlier, that germplasm is anything, any living organism, any plant, any flower, any organism is germplasm. But for the variety, what is a variety? Variety is basically a registered germplasm. You know, the variety has to develop by passing through a lot of breeding procedures. It has to pass several tests against abiotic stress, against biotic stress. It has to pass through a lot of selection procedures, and after all these procedures, we develop a variety in a registered form. So any germplasm which is registered is called as a variety, and registration should be given from an authentic body. Okay, so there is a difference between germplasm and variety. So now let's have a look towards the land races. These are also called as traditional or primitive cultivars. you know these land races or primitive cultivars that have developed over centuries or even millennium, and they have been influenced decisively by the migrations, and you can say have been subjected to both natural and artificial selection. In land cases, there is a large diversity between and within these cultivars that are adapted to survive in often unfavorable conditions. These land races or primitive cultivars usually have low but stable level of production and are therefore characteristic of subsistence agriculture. These land races or primitive cultivars have been frequently used as a parental lines to breed new cultivars. So now let's have a look towards commercial cultivars. The commercial cultivars, they are also called as modern cultivars. These are the standardized and commercialized cultivars that have in general been created or developed by the professional plant breeders. Many of them are being characterized by high productivity, or you can say high yield, when subjected to intensive cultivation system requiring heavy investment in the shape of fertilizers, pesticides, irrigation, or other cultural practices, and most by the uniformity which may leads to a high degree of genetic vulnerability. So now let's have a look towards advanced breeding lines. These are the materials obtained by the plant breeders as an intermediate products. These lines usually have a narrow genetic background because in general they have originated from small number of cultivars or population. That is why these advanced breeding lines have a narrow genetic background or genetic base, narrow genetic base. So now what is wild or weedy species? Wild and weedy species related to the cultivated species. These are either the ancestors of a cultivated crop or species. The wild and weedy species are genetically close to the crop so that the gene can flow between them without much difficulty, or the genetic barriers between them can be removed by certain methods such as embryo rescue of hybrids. These germplasm resources are becoming increasingly important as genetic engineering has facilitated the transfer of genes from different plant species, families, and even genera. Another plant germplasm resource is special genetic stocks. This category includes other genetic combinations such as genetic, chromosomal, or genomic mutants, which have been naturally or artificially produced and are conserved in the collections of either genetics or the plant breeders. These material can be of value in itself or used as a tool for research. Another plant germplasm resource is called as co-adopted germplasm. It is also known as symbiotic germplasm, in which two forms of a crop, two distinct crops, or a crop and its symbionts, such as unrelated weeds or legumes and a nodule forming bacteria, are grown together. So now let's have a look on the artificial or synthetic germplasm. The man-made germplasm is described as an artificial or synthetic germplasm, and it can be of the following types. The first one is transgenic plants or engineered plants. Organisms possessing exotic genetic materials are regarded as transgenic plants or the genetically engineered plants. The other type of artificial or synthetic germplasm are those organisms that contain genetic modification, including variants which is induced by physical or chemical agents, somoclonal variants derived from the tissue culture, and mutants occurring naturally during the process of maintenance and the production of germplasm. So synthetic cultivars. Synthetic cultivars, which includes novel cultivars derived from distant crossing with relatives such as cultivars of sorghum with maize chromosomal segments or genes. And the other thing is synthetic species, which includes a man-made cereal, which is an octoploid triticale, which is derived from the hybridization of wheat and rye. So triticale is a man-made germplasm, newly germplasm, or a new species, which is a cross between wheat and rye. So these type of germplasm resources have become very important materials in genetics and plant breeding. So now we will discuss about the importance of germplasm to plant breeding. Germplasm is the lifeblood of plant breeding, without which breeding is impossible to conduct. It not only has reproductive value, but through genetic manipulation in the shape of plant breeding, germplasm can be can be improved for better performance of the crop. The germplasm provide the materials in shape of parents to be used to initiate a breeding program. Sometimes the plant breeders do is to evaluate plant germplasm and make a selection from the existing biological variation, and then from this promising or superior genotypes that are adapted to the production region are then released to the producer. But sometimes the breeders can also generate new variability by using a variety of methods such as crossing parents, mutagenesis, which is including mutation, it can be induced mutation or spontaneous mutation, and more recently, gene transfer, or you can say genetic transformation. Breeders at present, they are also using all these techniques to create variability, and after creating a useful variation, they are releasing varieties for commercial purpose. If I talk about the chickpea, almost 35 varieties has been released in Pakistan market, and these varieties have been totally developed on the basis of mutation breeding. And the this space population, which is developed by the breeders, is then subjected to the appropriate selection method, leading to the identification and further evaluation of promising genotypes for release as cultivar. And when the breeders need to improve plants, they have to find a source of germplasm that would supply the genes needed to undertake the breeding projects. So, to facilitate the use of germplasm, certain entities, or you can say germplasm banks, are charged with the responsibility of assembling, cataloging, storing, and managing large number of germplasms. So this strategy allows scientists ready and quick access to germplasm when they need it. So now let's have a look on genetic diversity and its importance. Genetic diversity refers to the variation within a species, which represents the total genetic information and contained in the individual plants of a species, each consisting of a unique assembly of genes consisting its evolutionary heritage. This diversity begins at the molecular level, which is carried as a sequence of instruction on chromosomes and provides the foundation of environmental adaptation and ultimately for the evaluation of species. The genetic diversity enables species to adapt to new ecosystems and environments or changes in the current environment by natural or human selection. Diversity within a crop species also helps to diminish the risk of the losses through diseases or pests. The genetic diversity also provide opportunities for the exploitation of different features of microenvironment. For example, the presence of diverse growth habits and rooting pattern, or you can say rooting system. The genetic diversity within crops also helps to provide a reservoir of genes for future crop improvement by farmers and by professional breeders. These type of diversity also act as a raw material for future uh, elite cultivars and as an indicator of sustainability of agricultural production. The status of the genetic diversity is of utmost concern for agriculture production. So this is all about a general introduction about germplasm, the types of germplasm, what is the basic difference between the types of germplasm, the importance of germplasm, and a brief introduction about diversity and how it is important from agricultural point of view.